Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Ozzy and Keats. We're not great. We're just okay. John Keating and Chris Osgood with you. Chris Osgood's face is a little red. I'm always accused of having a red face because I've got the Irish skin. Yours is attached to...
That explains a lot about you, that you're full Irish, 100%?
100%.
Oh,
well, that probably 75% anyway. Yeah.
If anything, that will give you an ironclad liver, so that might help you a little bit along the line here. It's amazing you've made it this far, isn't it? Now that I really look at the stats and look at the logistics of who you really are. Happy to have you here.
Who I've had to work with.
Yeah, happy to have you here. The red face, my family went to the par 3 course. They team up with a couple of my billet boys. I was caddying. I wasn't playing. Didn't have any sunscreen. I wasn't expecting. It was windy too, so I had a little bit of windburn slash.
But isn't the aftershave attached to this story?
Yeah, we're getting to it because then I
trying to move things along.
Because you can get into like a full day. Where in Jenna Osgood organizes the day, you're in the day. You have to do the day. So they wanted to play wiffle ball after I played. I was standing in the outfield. I look like Trammell a little bit. Sweet Lou Whitaker with a slight hint of Tony Fernandez at shortstop. Agility, quick. I can't do the Ozzie Smith flip anymore, but maybe I could have before. So anyways, played wiffle balls. I'm in the sun.
I'd like to see you try the Ozzie flip and then call the paramedics.
I was a
right
shortstop
after.
in baseball as a youth, by the way. And the craziest thing is, which I don't know why, because if I look back on it, our jerseys were like purple and like LA Kings colors. Who in the world as a baseball team has that color of jersey?
The Colorado Rockies.
Do they really?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yes.
Are they in the league?
I was in Denver for the birth of the Colorado Rockies and followed their progress. And the first game the Rockies played was at Mile High Stadium in front of 76,000 people.
They were good a couple times, maybe.
They were. No, they had the
Larry Walker, Canadian was there.
Larry Walker, Dante Bichette, Vinny Castilla. The pitching, obviously, at altitude was always
Jimmy
going to be
Leland
there.
coached there, right?
Jim Leland,
He's a manager.
He regrets that going there because it was not for him.
All right.
But if he doesn't resign from the Rockies, he doesn't come to Detroit, and the rest is history.
Thank goodness he was here.
Yeah.
So then we get up the next day. Now we're going to slip back to the story. And I didn't shave yesterday because when you get older, suddenly you get these white hairs and hair grows out of your ears. You know, you get more hair than you ever had. It's the weirdest thing, right? When you're younger, you can't. Now, all of a sudden. So I shave, and this morning, I'm like, God, my face is on fire. So, doing some stuff, and my daughter's home from school. She was going today. She goes, Dad, I bought you this shaving cream or aftershave or whatever you spray.
Polo? High karate?
No, I didn't even know what it was. For Christmas, you haven't even used it yet, So she's giving me the guilt trip about that. So I unwrap it, spray it on my face, put it on my hands, slap it on, like Home Alone when he did that. Yes. So I'm driving here, and a lot like the story I told on this once, but that was the 8535 in the private area. I'm driving here today, which is traffic again. I come here a different way every time. I don't know why. This time I came down Woodward. And
for those that missed it on the episode, he had effectively atomic bomb that as a prank was
in my underwear.
In your underwear, okay,
yeah.
and it was painful and went on from there. Okay, just to.
And I'm driving here today.
Just to flesh out the story as it were.
I'm like, well, it's not a warm day. It's a bit muggy because of rain last night. There's thunderstorms. I look at my temperature in my vehicle. I'm like, oh, Jesus, my face is on fire.
Does it hurt?
I'm
That's
hot
the old
in here.
joke. Does your face hurt?
No, my eyes feel like swollen with my. I feel like I just came off a hot Saturday night. And my eyes were watering. I'm like, what is happening here? So I'm like, got the air cranked on. I look, my face is beat red in the rearview mirror. Now, usually when I look in the rearview mirror, I'm giving myself a self-lecture from what happened the night before. But this time, because I'm older,
Chris,
that hasn't happened.
Chris, you made a poor choice last night.
Yeah, that's when you hit the steering wheel, like, get yourself together. Why did you do that? You're giving yourself a lecture. Anyways, and I know there's people out there that have done the same thing, by the way, as yourself has. And my face was on fire. And
self-inflicted is the phrase.
I'm thinking to myself,
use.
like, did I get sunburned yesterday? No, immediately this aftershave with God bless my daughter for buying, because it is really good. It's supposed to tighten your face up, supposedly. They always
for
say
an older person, I mean, you.
But they always give you hope, right?
Yeah.
We'll tighten the face up.
They're selling you
cool
hope.
you down. We'll never cool me down
at
all. I was on fire.
Yeah.
Do I look tighter?
You look like $1 million.
Do I?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that works that
if
aspect.
the $1 million were red, you look like $1 million.
Is my face still red?
Yeah. You look like are pesos red? Well, what currency has a red bills? Anyway, that's how
it looks.
Yeah.
Like a red Crayola crayon.
There you go.
Like that.
Yeah. Sort of a burnt sienna.
Burnt sienna?
Yeah.
Well, I thought you'd reference a drink of some sort to my face, but that's not the case.
All right, here's another question for you. When you're driving and you are stuck in traffic, what are we listening to these days? What's the go-to?
I'm full 80s. Love the 80s. And my kids like the 80s now. So
Because
Jenna
they're
hates
subjected to it.
Jenna says I'm stuck in the 80s.
Yes.
Which one of my favorite shows, Stranger Things, was based in the 80s. Now there's another one on that I just ran into last night. Physical, it's called. It's about aerobics in the 80s. The clothing's there.
Oh, man.
The housing's there. Everything's the 80s, which the music is fantastic in the show as well. So I like the 80s. I feel like the 80s come back a little bit. The checkered vans, I've seen kids wearing them.
Yeah, the El Camino. We know that you're with the wood on the side. We know that you're obsessed with the television from the 80s. I guess that's so there's a Sirius channel, the 80s. That's where you live pretty much?
Pretty much. Or can I say a number of a radio station on here?
Sure.
Yeah, 104.3.
Okay.
I listened to that.
WOMC, right?
And then when I was driving back from Toronto, I ran into the top 500 rock songs of all time. Oh, was that fantastic?
And you're probably a Casey Kasem guy as well.
I love Casey Kasem.
Yeah.
The
late
AI
great.
Casey Kasem now.
They what?
The AI Casey Kasem.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. I listened to it. It's on Sundays.
That's not right.
It's on Sundays. And I like how he segues into the bands like Aha, how they got to there and stuff.
Take On Me.
Yeah. Aha, a great band who also had a fabulous video. He coming in at 33 with Take On Me.
My musical tastes are all over the map, but I'm probably like you. I mean, I get teased by my kids for, if I'm sitting on the deck in Grand Haven, it's probably 70s music or 80s music that's going on. But I mean, I like Tony Bennett depending on the mood. I like I like some country. I like some current stuff. And you will appreciate this because you're shepherding your kids, you're transporting them everywhere, carpool. It's just like I got stuck listening to more Backstreet Boys and NSYNC than I can tell you about. Just because that's what was being listened to by the people that were riding
Justin
with
Timberlake.
me in the car. And so, I mean, there are songs I know by heart.
Oh, yeah. I Want It That Way by the Backstreet Boys. I know all these songs.
Yeah.
All of them. I mean, you didn't like The Doors? No?
I like the Doors. Yeah. I mean, I like some 60s stuff too. I mean, going way back to,
The 60s?
The Beatles. Yeah, the Beatles were the 60s and all the Stones.
I was just about to tell a story, but I forgot what I was going to say like within 1 minute. Believe that or not?
Yes,
I swear to God, it was a good one too. And I'm like,
yes, I believe
now
that.
as I'm talking to you, I'm trying to go back to that story, but I can't remember it. So it's locked somewhere in the right side of my brain. I can't get to it. It will come out next show.
All right, we're gonna step aside, and in a moment, our good pal Manon Rhéaume will join us. Her story is sensational. The first female to play in any game in a North American sports league in history, and of course, you saw her for a time with us on our TV coverage of the Red Wings as well. Manon joins us next as Ozzy and Keats continues after this. Rosenau is the largest Powersports dealer in the Tri-County area. And as we go into summer, they carry all three brands of PWC, Sea-Doo, Yamaha, and Kawasaki with huge rebates or promo financing available. Call 313-278-5000 to take advantage while supplies last. Okay, Ozzy and Keats continues. As everybody knows, we're not great. We're just okay. And it's a big thrill for us to bring in our pal Manon Rhéaume, the first female to play in a North American professional sports league when she played for the Tampa Bay Lightning in 1992. It's great to see you. We got a chance to get to know each other on TV. Before we get into your goalie beginnings, how much do you miss our little TV interactions?
I do miss it. I remember I don't miss being so nervous right before we started, but I do miss working as a group and talking hockey and making our research before a game. So that was the fun part of it. The little butterfly right before, that was not the fun part.
Why were you nervous? It's just television. Why were you so nervous? You've done television for a good long while now.
It's me wanted to be perfect in everything that I do. Because it was new for me, out of my comfort zone, and just wanted to be perfect. Didn't want to miss any words or, what was a little bit hard for me, it's the name in English, because obviously being French and some names are very complicated, and especially for a French person. So I was worried about messing up the name and the word penalty.
Yeah, I was going to ask you.
Bring it up, so I'm going to bring it up before you.
I was going to say, tell us the word, because there's one word that she probably said it 1,000 times before you went on the air, and it was always penalty. It was always penalty because, so.
I tried, I practiced, but it doesn't work. It's stay like this.
So the pressure of obviously dealing with John Keating, it's overwhelming. I felt it too, Manon. But let's talk about that first training camp you went to, and when Phil Esposito said, "Hey, Manon, I think you're getting into a game." How cool was that feeling, and what was your feeling right after he said that?
The first time that even addressed that I could be a possibility, it was after my first time on the ice. We started already with a little mini tournament, not even a practice. And I happened to play very well in that game, and I didn't allow any goal in 14 shots. And I remember him knocking on my door right after and said, "You have to hurry up. We have a press conference." And my English back then was not very good, so I understood most of it, but not all of it. And people were talking about the game, how I played, and someone asked him, "Are we going to see her in an exhibition game?" And he said, "The way she played today, you never know, you may see her." And I remember that part I did understand, and I look at him like, is he crazy? I was thinking, okay, I'm like a rookie there, and most of the young players that goes to a training camp, not many of them play in an exhibition game, so I never expected to play in one, so it was a little overwhelming.
But you were signed by the Tampa Bay Lightning. What was the reaction that you got from the boys on the team at the National Hockey League level going to that training camp?
When I went to the training camp, obviously I'm the only girl, and I just tried to fit in, and I was not talking to many people, maybe just a French player from Quebec, because I knew some of them, so that was a lot easier. And I was just trying to fit in. I didn't want to, I don't know, everybody said I didn't show a lot of emotion, but it was hard to show any kind of emotion because, everybody's looking at you. They don't know what to expect. And I think that first performance on the ice really helped me to be accepted by everyone. But also you have to remember, every guy's there, none of the guys wanted a woman to stop them on the ice. So every time they took shot on me, they wanted to score. So not only I was young and I was a rookie going to training camp, but those guys wanted to score against me, and it made practice and game challenging.
Yeah, how were you? Because goalies are, Manon. We're all quirky.
Not hooked up right. Not hooked up right is the word you're looking for.
I'm not sure if Darren Pupa was there, but how were you treated by the other goalies? Because in training camp, remember, there's always that competition between three guys that are trying to make Tampa Bay, and there'd be three guys that are trying to be in the AHL. So it's fierce, and sometimes they don't get along. How was that? They treated you kindly?
Everybody was great to me. I don't know behind my back what they were saying, but to me, everybody was great. And I was really lucky to be with Weldon Young. He was a veteran. He was going to be the #1 goalie for the Tampa Bay Lightning. So it was really helpful to have him. He's the one that started that first game, and I went in halfway through. So to have the chance to be with someone like that, he knew I was not challenging for his spot. So he was accepting me and very helpful too. And I think most of the players there and most of the goalie, they knew that I was not necessarily going to be challenging for a spot with the team. So because of that, I was not a threat like another goalie could have been, but I'm sure they wanted to do better than me. That was the only thing that I was competing against. It's people, always want to be better than me out there.
You were just a kid, but how much were you aware that you were a trailblazer for lots and lots of young women in not just Canada, but in the U.S. and globally, really.
I have to be honest, when I got there, I had no idea that this experience would change my life, that my story would inspire so many people. I was just going there to play hockey, and so many times when I was younger, people said no to me because I was a girl to play at the highest level. They're like telling my dad, don't bring a daughter, we're not going to take girls. Especially they were saying to him, she's going to take the spot of one of the guys that's going to make it to the NHL one day. And I continued to play, and once in a while, someone would give me a chance at the next level, and then I would move up to the next one and next one. And so I remember going to the training camp, and I just wanted to be able to compete at the highest level. And I had no idea how that would change my life. And it truly took me years after I went to Tampa Bay when I saw people come up to me and said, you're such an inspiration for my daughter, or my son did a project on you in school. And I even had an NHL goalie that said to me, I saw women playing in the NHL, so that gave me, like, if she can do it, I can do it. So those are the moments that I realized that my story inspired other people.
Was there a moment in terms of magazine covers or media attention where it really sort of sunk in how big this was? And could it be overwhelming to a young woman at the time?
It was overwhelming because, first of all, my English was not the best. And obviously had tons of requests. Good Morning of America, the Today Show. I remember even David Letterman. And because I was from Quebec and I was not going to bed late and we had French TV, I didn't know who David Letterman was. So when they asked me to go on the show, I had no clue. My English was not very good. And I remember going to the show and thinking I did well in English. And years later, I tried to rewatch it. And I don't even understand myself what I said to him. So that's how bad my English was. But when I moved to the States, and I started watching the show, I realized, like, wow, I cannot believe the people that's on this show. And that's when I realized it was a big deal. But the time that I did the show, I had no clue who he was.
All right, now you move forward to one of your boys is a goalie, and your other one is a defenseman at Michigan, plays there. Put your hockey mom hat on. How was that? Like, how does Manon, with all this pressure of being a goalie at training camp, the first woman to play hockey and do awesome, and now works with the LA Kings. How do you sit there and watch a game? Are you calm? Are you nervous? Or take us through that.
It's different for both boys. I remember Dylan as a goalie. They did both play goalie and players. Dylan chose goalie. Dakota chose player. But I remember that first big game that Dylan had to play in net. That was a state final. And I woke up in the morning and I had butterfly in my stomach. And I thought to myself, like, am I normal? So I picked up the phone and called my mom. And I said to my mom, okay, I have a question for you. Dylan's playing in the final today. And I woke up with butterfly in my stomach. And my mom said to me, it's payback time. So that's when I realized, like, what I put my mom through. She said the time that I played in Tampa, she couldn't even breathe how nervous she was. Even when I went to the Quebec Pee Wee tournament, my first game, I played in front of 15,000 people, and she was so nervous. So it's funny because that's the reason why I love playing goalie. It's the pressure you have before the game and just the adrenaline and everything else. But to be the mom of a goalie, it's the worst thing. Because you cannot control anything, but you also understand when you don't have a good game how people look at you. So, and even if they're just kids, some parents would get mad if the goalie let in a bad goal. So that's the difficult part. But when you watch a player, it's a little different, less pressure for sure.
When you look back, how much appreciation do you have for your parents? Not just for the butterflies, but the fact that they nudged you out there to go ahead and have the kinds of experiences that you had as a young teen, and then certainly into your 20s to find the path that you did in hockey and ultimately into what you're doing these days.
Oh, my parents was like my biggest supporter, and that's who shaped me to who I am today. Because my dad was the person that he was my coach, and then I wanted to go try out to those AA team, and they would tell him, "Don't bring her." And he knew I had no chance to make the team, but he would send me anyway, and I would fail, I would get caught, I would be, disappointed. He didn't share with me that I had no chance, but the next day I would woke up and ask him to come and practice in the basement or to come outside and shoot pucks on me. And so every year I got better and I got better because of getting cut every year. So I used to say to people, my dad really loved me, even if he knew he's going to disappoint me every single year when I get cut. He also knew how much I'm going to work hard. And for my mom, she taught me that I can be myself. I don't need to be like the boys to be able to play hockey with the boys. So, she made sure that we used to have like a hockey jacket that was very masculine. So she would have my grandma knit a sweater that would match the jacket and knit a little hat that would be more girly. So I can stay myself and still play the game that I loved.
Manon, John goes to training camp. He doesn't go anymore, but he has stories from training camp.
Now. Yeah, I'm done now.
I have stories from training camp. Any like funny, cool stories from your training camp when you're in Tampa Bay, away from hockey or that had to relate to hockey?
Yeah, when I got to Tampa, they lost my luggage at the airport. So I didn't have anything to wear the next day after the meeting for the first day when you do medical and off-ice training and signing a bunch of hockey stick and jersey before the camp starts. So I remember Phil telling me, go see my daughter. She's working the camp. She'll have a clothes for you. So I got to her room and she was smaller than me. So all she had for shorts is jean shorts. So I tried them on and they were so skin tight on me because she was smaller than me. And then I don't know why they made that t-shirt, but they had a marketing t-shirt made for the team. And it was a black t-shirt that says "Real men wear black."
Oh,
and they know that one woman coming to the training camp, but that's the t-shirt they had for the team. So they give me that t-shirt to wear. So you can just picture I'm already standing out because I'm the only girl there. And I'm wearing tight jean shorts with that t-shirt. All the media are there taking picture of all of this. I'm so embarrassed. I remember every time I introduced myself to a player, I said, "This is not my fault if I'm dressed like this." Like, that's what they gave me. They lost my luggage. But it was a tough first day, and I was so happy to get on the ice later when they finally got my equipment. Because I don't think I would have fit in anybody else's equipment back then.
Manon, my first ever camp, John, my coolest save, because you always remember as a goalie, was off Bob Probert.
Wow.
I was like, wow, we're at Flint, training camp was there. And I thought, wow, was that ever cool? I stopped Bob Probert. So, Manon, your first save that you always will remember at training camp, off who, and go through it for me.
I don't have a save at training camp that I remember because everything was going so fast. And I don't think I really got to appreciate the moment when I was there. Like, you're just going with the adrenaline and it's overwhelming. But I remember the one save, my favorite save when I played the exhibition game was a 2-on-1. I had to come across, I don't remember who shoot the puck, but that was a cool moment because, first of all, I started the game and we got a penalty, which I cannot say very well. So right away they start with a power play. I'm thinking to myself, really? This is how I start the game? But it turned into be the best thing because I got a few shots right away and I felt good. But later in that period, getting a 2-on-1 and making that save to me was my best save of the game, and it felt really good.
Hey, you're our hero.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us. It was great working with you for a short time, and we look forward to crossing paths with you again. It's a sensational story, and you're one of our favorite folks.
Thanks for having me.
The great Manon Rhéaume joining us on Ozzy and Keats, and we'll continue in a skosh. Rosenau is the largest Powersports dealer in the Tri-County area. And as we go into summer, they carry all three brands of PWC, Sea-Doo, Yamaha, and Kawasaki with huge rebates or promo financing available. Call 313-278-5000 to take advantage while supplies last. All right, we continue. Great thanks to Manon Rhéaume, our pal, for joining us. And we continue, and she told her goalie beginning story. At what point did you decide to stand in front of frozen chunks of rubber for the entirety of your adult life?
That's put me in the spot I am now.
Yes.
Struggling, not all there.
Exactly.
Unaware.
Yeah.
A lot of different adjectives.
Making
we could
poor
use.
decisions.
Lots of times. I would say, because back then, you had to play your position. You weren't just a goalie, which they do now. My brother and I were the goalies, actually, just because, so we had the equipment at our house. And I'll never forget, we had the team meeting, because you had those back then, at even 8. And the coach asked who wants to be the goalie. I put my hand up, just because I thought the equipment was cool. And I took
The
it
first
home.
bad decision of your life.
And I took it home, and one of the parents drove me home, and I had this box of the goalie gear. My dad goes, "What is that?" And I go, "I'm the goalie." I received a lecture for the next 5 minutes about how I wasn't going to be a goalie. He was mad because I was the goalie.
He wanted you to be a skater,
Yeah,
right?
but he probably knew how goalies ended up. He was a phys ed teacher, football coach, principal of a elementary school. So he's probably seen lots of my kind come through there. And
My kind.
he was disappointed, to say the least. So my brother was actually better than I was when we were young. And then at 12 years old, you had to decide what you're going to do. So that's when I decided to be goalie. And if the people in Detroit think I let some bad ones in here, they should. Now, they didn't have video. They had Beta Vision back then and VHS, but they weren't on tapes. If they would have had Live Barn, which they have in all the rinks now, and you could watch some of those humdingers, you wouldn't be so disappointed about the ones that let in here. They were even worse.
Well, and now that you're coaching, you have an appreciation for this, how hockey parents can be, or parents in general can be. And at one point, my daughter was a soccer goalie. And I think we've talked about this. When you're the parent of the goalie, every other parent on the team, if a goal goes in, they immediately turn their heads to look at mom and dad, because somehow this is your fault, because you brought this person into the world.
Yeah.
You are the responsible. It's your responsibility for bringing our team down. You did this to us. That's the sense that I always got as a goalie's parent.
And it's the parent's fault.
Right.
Because the kid's too young to blame the child, so it's the parent's fault. Like I always said, you go to a normal hockey school, the parents are bustling around, hanging out. But then you go to a goalie school, all the parents are sitting there dead quiet the whole time. Because they're like, why? Because they're like second guessing themselves of why they're doing this. And nowadays it's the most, besides a quarterback also, the most critiqued position around. It was easier when I played compared to now. Because even at 10 now, John, they start critiquing these kids early and blaming them for losses and doing this, and gets to be a little bit too much because they're too young. And consequently, there's less kids playing goalie now. In Canada, they're having troubles finding them, as well as the U.S.
We talked about this a handful of weeks ago when we had Dan Campbell on. Which is the toughest position to play in Detroit? Quarterback of the Lions or goalie of the Red Wings?
Equally now. Well, when I was playing, I'd say goalie, only because we were really good and the Lions weren't. Now the Lions are trying to win the Super Bowl. So even I noticed last year, Jared Goff they're 15-2, had outstanding games, had the one-off game. They're all over him. Oh, he can't run. He can't move. It's always the next thing. And I always said the most 3 popular people in Detroit are
Me,
the backup quarterback, the backup goalie, and John Keating, for sure.
Right.
Especially now, because you're the backup to the backup to the backup to TV. You don't even remotely get there.
Retired.
You're retired.
Right.
But it for surely is. I think right now the quarterback for certain is by far and away the goalie.
If you let in a bad goal or a couple bad goals, would it preclude you from getting to sleep that night?
No. Now, come on. You know my memory. I sometimes slips me here. I have a story and poof, it's gone. So maybe I had that mechanism that I was born with in my head that actually helped me with that.
You have to have that as a goalie, right? I mean, you can't hang on to things.
It was easier then because there wasn't as many replays. There wasn't as much critiquing on film. I mean, back then you rolled the TV on the little plastic thing. It was sitting up, and they put the VHS tape in that taped the game, and guy would be sitting there rewinding it for Scotty Bowman, back and forth. Stop it, pause it, fast forward. You know, so you lose your patience with it. You're not going to. Nowadays, every goal is readily right there. So, and you can pause it and slow it down and look at it. And so now, before, when I played, I never really got critiqued till I was like 16, 17. Now these kids get critiqued at like 10.
know.
You can go and watch on TV, so fairly or not, probably unfairly. A lot of kids get tired of by their 16, so hence there's not a lot of goalies in the U.S. or in Canada. There's too much pressure, too much critiquing.
Do you have that thought in your head as you coach younger teams now, and you're sort of, putting your arm around the goalie of your team to some degree?
I should more, probably, for sure, because it's tough.
So we did something good here.
Yeah.
We actually helped somebody by our little podcast
We're
today.
thinking that I could do a better job with young
You could be a
goalies.
better person, I think, is the message.
But I talked to Jim Bedard. He was
Former
my
goalie coach of the Red Wings, Jim
Coach
Bedard.
Ottinger, who's now Dallas's goalie for 2 years. So he lives in Niagara Falls. God bless his liver, because that's the wine capital of Canada. And he drinks a ton of Corona still. He'll hear this. He knows I'm right. But he coaches goalies. He'll go to practice from 10 years old all the way to 18, we'll say. He says the same. No coaches like their goalies at 10 years old to 18 now. So It's hard. So after a while, you got to get tired of that. It's hard. I mean, as a goalie, if you think your coach doesn't like you, or you're always getting critiqued, you do good stuff, but it's always the bad stuff, right? Instead of just winning and playing. I love Grant Fuhr because Grant Fuhr just won. Stop pucks when it meant the most.
Well, what we have learned here is that I never critique you, because, it's always chef's kiss, the stuff that you deliver on Ozzy and Keats.
Yeah, you don't. In our old gig, you critiqued me a little bit there. A couple other people did, but not as much as I probably needed. Now, I do need a good critiquing. How do you call it? Because it used to be on and off.
That's
the
called
ice.
marriage. That's called being married.
So you say now off camera, on camera critiquing, right?
Yes.
Like as I'm roaming around the state of Michigan, I could use a nice critiquing every now and then.
Yes, you could.
I definitely could.
That'll do it for us. We thank you for watching and listening, and we'll see you next time on Ozzy and Keats.
Ozzy and Keats is produced by Zachary Davis and Bill McAllister and proudly distributed by Podcast Nation in Troy, Michigan.